that will be available for our patrons on Patreon. And, for the behind the scenes. Also, we're going to be promoting on social media. And so I'm going to ask for you guys help in that as well. Just kind of trying to build a little buzz, a little traction for the project once we get it out. But I'm really excited to be working with all of you. And, as the writer of this, it's always exciting to hear your words come to life, So I've been doing a lot of my homework in terms of the script and the beats and how I see the characters. But before I even put any of my own vision, I really want this to be a very truly collaborative process. And so one thing I'm going to ask you guys to do, is give you a little homework, is I'd like you, for any character that you interact with, and Jake, Mood, you only interact with one. Everybody else, and Nick, you only interact with one as well. You only interact with Surya. So Scylla. So, but just kind of build your own backstories. For me, this is something that I think, if you haven't started doing it already, for the next time we get together, I would like to hear kind of your character's backstory, and then your relationship stories with the characters that you interact with. Those of you, obviously, who like Jake and Bust Up Guy, just your backstory, because basically your relationship is pretty not existent, especially Bust Up Guy. But Bust Up Guy, what's your story? I mean, the fact that you don't even have a name, and that's on purpose, because that's kind of how Surya views you, all her encounters, it's like bathroom guy, bus stop guy, even in The Secret Lives of Me, she's got like reporter guy. She got, they're nobody, whole 9 yards, it's like his name is whole 9 yards, okay. So Bus Stop Guy is kind of how she views you. But still, you build your story. Like, who are you, before the moment we meet you? I just want you guys to have that anchor for your character. I think it's very important to anchor them. And then the relationships, especially like with Sasha, Benjamin, and Surya, and then also Jason and Surya, and then Jason and Kristen, build your backstories, like what, and you don't have to build them with each other, as long as you have like that anchor of that character's relationship with that other person, and also their anchor of who they are. I would like you guys to kind of work on that, to really build the connections so that it'll be evident when you guys are working together. Because right now also we're kind of doing the Zoom, and it's kind of hard to get that connection, I don't know, like my partner asked if I was going to do at least one live rehearsal. I mean, now, Scylla, that you're in Atlanta, that probably we won't then, I didn't know that, and it's fine, as long as you're here for the shoots.
Yes.
We can work, you and Mood and I can work together on Zoom a couple of times just to work through some things. And then, I mean, you can't really block anything anyway until you know exactly what locations you're using anyway. So, it's not like I'm going to be blocking anything. It's going to be more about what's going on between the two characters in those scenes. So we'll be working through, working on the beats. There are a lot of beats that are subtext, there's a lot of subtext going on. And so I want to make sure that it's clear to everybody, like what the subtext is. I want to know what you think it is. Yours might be better than mine, So, and that's kind of how I work as a director. It's very collaborative. I want to hear your ideas. When we shoot, I'm probably going to ask you to do it, first, just like a couple ways how you think, and then maybe one or two ways how I want you to do it, So, and then the editor but the editor will probably make a lot of choices, and he and I will discuss which are the better choices, depending on previous choices. So that's going to be the process. So let's get down to business. Surya, what are your thoughts in terms of like, who do you think she is at this moment?
Sure. I feel like she's a young adult. She's exploring. She's open to new experiences. She's not afraid of judgment. But she does have to actually figure out what exactly she does want. Is she okay with just these one-off experiences, or does she want something deeper? But that's kind of where I'm starting off with her.
Okay. What about Jake? What do you think he's about?
Oh, sorry, my internet's breaking up. What did you say?
Can you hear me? Hello?
I don't know if it's me, but I can't hear her.
Desiree's frozen.
No,
I think you're frozen, Desiree. Desiree, you're frozen.
Yeah, I'm frozen.
Yeah.
1 second. Hello? Hello? Can you guys hear me now? Now? Okay. Hello? Sorry.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Is everybody back yet? Or okay, everybody's back. Okay, mood. What are your thoughts so far on Jake?
Jake seemed as a professional, very composed with a lot of experiences, and I see his relationship with Syria is that he's trying to find a point of connection to relate to his own story, and that's what attracts. And I feel like he's figured out her common issue with him a while back, reference to her line when she says an addict plus an addict. So he's just waiting for that moment of connection. It intrigues him. And I think it's one of the first cases where he can apply what he learned from her experiences to actually helping someone with that.
Okay, cool. And Benjamin. So James.
For me, with Benjamin, I feel like he's that friend who kind of kind of has an answer to all the questions, but you never see him really practice it in his life because you don't really know what's going on in his life.
Right.
He's one of those people that you're like, how do you make money? What is your job?
Right.
But you never know. I also just in reading this, I also like the idea of I don't know. I mean, I don't know how far he goes with the story, but if there's a future for Benjamin, I also like
there is. I mean, he's in the feature. Sasha and Benjamin are, and there's Sasha's boyfriend Theo, which we don't see here, but they factor very large in the main. So
So there may be something interesting about Benjamin having all this stuff to teach these girls, but you never see him with anyone, which is
Right.
kind of interesting to me.
Okay. Right. Yeah. You're okay. Definitely. Jason.
Yeah,
Jose.
Jason, you know, he's in his early 20s. His hormones are still raging, I'd say. He for the better half of his life has been able to leverage his looks into situations to the point where I don't think he has any desire to settle down. And I think he's found somebody similar in that to Kristen, with Kristen, who I think is kind of like a little bit of a second half of his. And yeah, I mean, you know, fun guy, but I think respectful in a way. I think he's a little bit manipulative, but he's not the type to like force you to do anything.
Right. Okay. And Natasha, Kristen.
So I kind of taken it from like, you know, she's what type of artist she is. Apparently she's a drawing, and there's this sort of, so she's in her early 20s, and just the idea of experimentation in art is just like very large with her. At the end of the day, things just can resonate there, and making decisions like as bold as the one that she's going to make has a lot to do with that. And I think, like, for me at least, I met Jason when we were in college, which we haven't been, you know, we're in our early 20s. We were like more or less like back and forth, but basically the nature, kind of like what he was saying, is that we kind of complement each other, and then we just kind of ended up together. So trying to figure out her sexuality, trying to figure out her art, because I think she's like mixed media sort of art. Like, I like to paint, I like to sculpt, and, you know, just a lot of that kind of percolating right now. But yeah, just with what information I had, it's kind of where she's building from.
Okay. Yeah, because I know there isn't a whole lot there. They're only in one episode. But they do factor a bit, you know, in Surya's journey of figuring herself out as well, you know. And so that's why I wanted to add them back in, because they're actually no longer in this version of The Secret Lives of Me, but they were factored in like previous versions. They were actually, it was kind of a big kind of thing. It was several scenes, you know, of them, and how that they got to the point where we see them in this. So there was like a buildup, more of a buildup to that. But yeah, no, I think you're definitely on the right track with her. That's what, and I have to say, some of the characters, and people ask me this all the time, you know, when they read the script, they were like, is Surya you? And I'm like, oh, there are aspects of Surya that's me. No, like, but like the story is completely fictitious. But yeah, there's certainly, there's a lot there that, of course, I'm pouring some of myself in. Some of the characters that we meet are people I know, you know. So, and Kristen is definitely somebody that I've met in my own journey, as well as Jason.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, any sort of that you want me to extrapolate on or whatever, I obviously am happy to just build her big as you want.
No, just go ahead. I mean, you're on the right track. I think you do have a handle on who she is. And so, yeah, just keep building her, you know, so that it's completely anchored, and we'll have that connection between the two, because I think you're both on the right track with how they're connected and how they kind of feed off of each other, you know. So they really do. Jason one I want you to remember about Kristen, you know, like when she says, well, I'm the queen and you'll be the number two to Surya, she means that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really interesting as like open and you know, like we can do whatever kind of thing. Like there's a clear hierarchy, and I think that matters.
Right. And that hierarchy definitely matters to Kristen. Also, it's a signal she's sending to Jason as well, so that he understands who's in charge of this, you know, but he's fine with that.
It wouldn't be the first time that it happened.
Right. Right. It's totally not the first time. It's one of the great features of his girl. Like, that's what he loves, you know, hey, I benefit. So I'm not going to mess it up by, you know, with ego. I'm going to let her do her thing. And I get to reap the benefits, you know, in whatever ways she allows. It's all good, you know. So again, it's our central theme is about control. And especially that, I mean, that is the central theme with all of the characters, you know, in a variety of ways. And so that's what I also want you guys to think about and kind of explore, you know, like the quest for control, the release of control, you know, the desire for control, you know, all of that. That's, you know, in every character, it's one of those things, or it's the tension on the pull of all of those things, you know, or two of those things, you know. So that is the central theme, I think, you know, of really being in control of the situation and any given situation, you know. And are there times when we're not in control and we're willing to release that control? Sometimes there is, you know. Some people never, you know. It depends. You have to decide for your character, you know, what's their deal. So that's something that I want us to always think about. Nick, so bus stop guy, tell us about him.
Bus stop guy. I think you met bus stop guy many years ago. I think you met him. Yeah, man. I mean, bus stop guy, you know, I mean, if you want to go real deep into the psychology, he has mommy issues. He, you know, his self-worth is really shallow. You know, he really doesn't really care who he sticks his penis inside of as long as it's a good time. And you know, that's it's kind of where he lives. You know, and that's what gives him kind of like the gusto to be able to just look at somebody and randomly and just be like, let's go have some fun. And like, maybe he assumes that she's a prostitute. Maybe this is something that he does on a regular basis. But, you know, I think deep down side, you know, he's got some issues that he's got to deal with. And, you know, she is just another hit from the drug of his addiction that has spawned from his childhood trauma.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think, I mean, you know, just keep building that out. Like whatever those, you know, you can decide what those traumas are. You can decide what those addictions are.
Oh, trust me.
Huh?
I'm bus stop guy. So I just gave you my life story. So congratulations. And you know, whoever's Jake, man, I'm just waiting for my therapy session. So let's do it.
And too lost to the cause.
You know what I'm saying? It's all about hitting those positive endorphins and, you know,
Hey.
all the cortex stuff.
But he's not a bad guy, you know, like he, you know, just like when he finds out it's her first time, you know, he wants to make sure he, you know, he's not going to be too rough or whatever, you know, so he's kind of looking out for her a little bit.
It's just sliding a tip in, but then he's like, you know.
Yeah, it's like, so he's not all bad. So there is a little bit of like, okay, I'm not a completely like douchey kind of guy, even though, he is kind of, but, not completely.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's not completely douchey where, he knows how to treat a woman, you know what I mean? In regards to physically,
Right.
it's just a matter of whether or not he can get into relationships. He just can't keep them.
Right. Emotionally, he can't,
Right.
handle, which again, there's the question of control,
Yeah.
Newly. So, I mean, with every character, there is a question of control. And what end of the stick are you on? And I think, exploring that could help you open up some interesting choices, I think, if we keep digging into that. Because that is really central, but any kind of, I would say, I just lost my train of thought. I hate when that happens. It was like, wait a minute, where was I going with this?
Just insert orgasm and, it all comes to life.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so basically these are our characters. And I want to say that this is probably about 3 to 4 years before we meet Surya in The Secret Lives of Me. So, so that, is just good to know in terms of where it's 3 to 4 years. She's still in law school. She's almost finished. She's about to graduate. Her mom is a congresswoman, and she just got offered a job by her mom to be the spokesperson for their Christian conservative organization. They are conservatives.
Right.
The family, not Surya necessarily, and that's another layer, Scylla, that I want you to kind of explore too. You came up in this very Christian conservative background. You're still working in that world. You're still kind of trying to please mom, kind of, but again, whenever he asks you about your mom, you don't want to talk about it, so I want you to create your reasons why, but giving you the background about your mom, that, she's a pundit. So think Fox News, she's on Fox a lot. She's on, now, well, that was back then. So yeah, back then she's on Fox News all the time. She's a Black female conservative. So obviously she's got a lot of high profile, especially at that time. It was rare. So keep that in mind. So that's like a layer on you as to maybe, why you could be doing what you're doing, or having to hide that,
Sure.
So because for many reasons, besides just the Christian background, the patriarchy, because she talks about that, and how they view women, where it's supposed to be a good girl, that pressure, but you have an added pressure because you are a spokesperson for a Christian, like a conservative, right group that your mother founded. So that's, an added extra. I would say pressure, you know, to be something that, you know, you're not sure you are at this point. By the time we see her in the Secret Lives, she knows she's not. But right now, you're like, you're not even sure about this.
Sure.
You know? Also, to give you a little background as well as the father, what happens, what we find out happened was when she was about 12, they had a gun in the house. She found a gun with two of her little friends, one little boy. It was like two little boys, neighborhood friends or whatever. She took the gun out. They went out to the back because they lived in a townhouse in the city. And she had it. One of the little boys tried to grab it out of her hands. She struggled with him. They didn't know there was a bullet in it. It was loaded and it shot through the house and shot her father.
Oh no.
Who was in the kitchen, basically.
Okay.
And he dies. So, but it was clearly an accident, clearly kids, you know, and it was his gun. So, you know, mom wasn't prosecuted or anything because it was his gun. She didn't ever touch it. She didn't even want it in the house. And so then it was just deemed an accident. But so that's why she never wants to talk about it. Whenever he asks, you know, so that's kind of giving you that information. So, and then, however, you know, you can build out from that, you know, like how you feel about that, you know, how you know, so, but that's the information that happened.
Thank you.
So we're just waiting for Lanice to sign on and then we can read this baby, basically. So while we're waiting, I look at this as a short film. I call it a short film in 5 parts. I will be releasing it on my YouTube channel as a web series. However, I will also have what I will call a short film cut. So where it will be edited as a short film and will also enter in short film festivals as well as web festivals. So kind of the two. I feel that it could certainly be edited both ways and it works both ways. So the names of the parts, you know, are very specific because also as far as each episode name, very specific to the story and they will still be kept in, you know, the short film. So it's like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, you know, like Menage a Knot, Split Personality Me. It's kind of, you know, like what's going on at that moment in Surya's mind, kind of. So that's kind of where I'm getting the titles for the episodes as well. But let's look at the script because it's 2:00. I know she said she'll log on as soon as she can, but if we're gonna have to, we might have to just push on because I don't want to hold people up too much. And wait a minute, let me just, my partner was also supposed to, because I needed him to read the, you know, narration, the, you know, the action and descriptions. So wait a minute, let me just text him. Yeah. If he's not coming, then I'll just read them, but I would rather just listen to you guys. Read descriptions. Okay. All right. So I think we're just going to move forward. Not unless anybody else has anything else to say in terms of the script. If you have any questions, yes, no, no, yes. Okay. So let's do this then. Hopefully, she's not in the very, very beginning. So hopefully she'll log on by the time we get to her part. If not, then I will just have to read it. So, everybody have page 1? Episode 101, split personality me, fade in. Exterior, New York City, day. Montage. A force of energy carried by the strong, graceful wings of an albatross flies towards the skyline of New York City, swooping down through the empty streets of New York.
The world bows at my feet, for I am a goddess of the sun.
It passes by scores of people on their way to work.
I'm usually a real cerebral type.
The force winds its way through an eerily empty New York City street to an alley. A woman, Surya, mid-20s. Wait a minute, why isn't this going down? Mid-20s, African-American, beautiful, confident, and successful, yet underneath her cool exterior is a pot ready to boil over. And a man, 30s, go at it against the wall.
Okay, well, maybe not really in a traditional sense.
Interior, Surya's bedroom, day. Then the force zooms right through an open window.
So how the fuck is this happening?
Surya is asleep in bed. It zooms right down into her face. She awakes with a start. She pulls herself onto the edge of bed. She looks to her left, picks up a small brown bottle from the end table. She struggles to open it. Finally, with a determined twist, she frees the bottle of its top. She peers into the mirror across from her, still holding the bottle. She closes her eyes as if to pray. Tears begin streaming down her cheeks. She sprinkles the contents in her hand. She closes her hands, takes a breath, and closes her eyes and shoots them down. End. Dream montage. Surya awakens with a jolt, jumping up, startled and gasping for air. She picks up her phone. She clicks on her hookup.com app. She swipes right, ding, a match. She quickly texts a message. Ding, she replies. She jumps up and hurries to her closet. She pulls out a cute number to put on. She quickly gets dressed and leaves. Interior, Gestalt, Psychotherapy, Jake Stevenson, PhD, day. Jake Stevenson, PhD, mid-30s. He has the charisma of an action hero and knows just how to use it, so you never really see him coming. Jake is seated in an armchair. His office is comfortable and stylish. There is a sleek modern desk behind him with a computer and telephone with some photos on it. Surya sits on a couch against the wall, which is several pictures of modern art on it.
So, why do you need to see me today?
I've been feeling off.
Off how?
I don't know. I've been having these weird dreams.
Weird how?
They're always kind of the same.
Would you like to tell me about them?
I'm always flying around the city, but it's from my POV. I can see everything, but there's nothing.
Just dunk your foot off the floor.
And
In Gestalt therapy, we make you aware of the physical manifestation of stress in your body with what we call phenomenological exploration.
oh, okay, then I don't know. I guess I'm under a lot of stress.
Is that a question?
No, it's not. I'm kind of living a lie. I mean, not a lie. I mean,
What do you mean?
my mother, as you know, she's a congresswoman. She just asked me to be the spokesperson for her organization. I'm also in law school. So all of my friends and family believe I'm something I'm not.
Oh, what is that?
They think I'm this great person.
And you're not? Help me understand.
I've been having anonymous encounters with men.
When you say encounters, what do you mean?
Sex.
When you said that you had some tension in your forehead.
Oh, I've never told anyone that. You're the first.
Do you judge yourself?
I don't know.
Surya
Well,
I'm sorry. Surya stands and heads to the window, keeping her back to Jake as she takes a peek out.
I don't know.
how do you feel about yourself?
Wife,
Not married.
sister, then.
We're here to talk about you.
Sister.
How do you feel?
What do you think?
It's not for me to say.
Conflicted.
Why?
Because my less put together self thinks my confident self is a cold, self-serving
And
whore.
I see. When did you become aware of those two selves?
And my confident and more in control self thinks my less together self is a whiny bitch.
Interesting. And when did you become aware of those two selves?
I don't know. A while back.
Okay. Think about the time you when you first felt in control.
When I was 18.
Exterior bus stop, spring day, flashback. Surya wanders down the street toward the bus stop. The street is busy as usual. She stops right in front of a bodega, waiting for the bus to come. After a few moments, bus stop guy, 2535, looks like the construction worker of the village people, stands right behind her. Excuse me. Surya shifts position. She casts an eye around and shifts her body a little. She turns her head and peers at the man positioned behind her. However, she does not say anything. He smirks and winks at her. She ignores him. He smirks again. She glances at him and their eyes meet in acknowledgement. The bus pulls into the stop. He motions with his head for her to come with him. She hesitates, but still does not move.
I don't live too far from here. You want to have some fun?
I don't know.
I won't bite. Don't worry, I'm a good guy. Scout's honor.
Raise the three
Um,
He
fingers.
raises 3 fingers, making the Boy Scout signal.
Good. Thank you, Phil.
um, okay. Sure, you're not an axe murderer.
He takes her hand and she follows him down the street.
And what made you go?
Teen angst, and he was cute.
Are you asking me?
Exterior, Roosevelt Avenue, spring day. Surya and bus stop guy walk toward his apartment.
You're a hot one, aren't you? How old are you anyway? 18?
Thereabouts.
I don't know. Sounds like jailbait to me.
Lucky for you. Not the case. But I'm still a virgin. How'd you like to change that?
I mean, how could I say no to that?
Is that the moment?
Yeah, I knew I had him.
A smile creeps across his face. They reach his apartment building. He opens the door and they enter. End of episode 101.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Episode
Okay.
102,
Yeah.
Anonymous X. Interior studio apartment, spring day, flashback. It is a cute, small studio and very clean. The furnishings are very simple but tasteful, just like an IKEA catalog. A typical bachelor pad.
You're too damn hot. I love black girls. You like Asian guys?
I never really thought about it, but I mean, I guess.
He motions for her to give him a blowjob by pushing her down on her knees in front of him. He holds her head and she begins.
Oh, well, that's good. Oh yeah. Oh, a little less teeth. Oh, there you go. Oh, whoa. Slow down. Okay. Okay, now stand.
He lifts her up and shifts her down toward the desk. He takes a long pause, taking in the beauty of her ass. He jumps into action. She winces with pain. Sensing her tensing, he goes slower.
Does it hurt?
A little.
Well, it's gonna hurt before it feels good, okay?
Feels good already.
She winces a bit, but then closes her eyes. He smiles and continuously, very slowly. He stops, leads her to the bed and lays her down. He jumps into working her until he collapses on top of her. After catching his breath, he springs up in silence. Surya then hops up, a bit confused as to what to do next. She steps into the bathroom to check her hair.
Thanks. That was awesome. I'll never forget it.
He pulls out his wallet and takes out some money. Surya is still primping in the mirror. She does not notice what he's doing.
Good. Was amazing.
She enters the main room. He's ready to go. She grabs her coat and they both leave the apartment. Exterior, Roosevelt Avenue, spring day. They say goodbye, leaving in opposite directions. Surya wanders toward the train station in the brisk air, window shopping on Roosevelt Avenue. She stops at a boutique window. She digs her hand in her jacket pocket to warm him. She realizes that there is something in it and pulls it out. It is a note and $100 bill. She opens the note and reads it. Just a little something, thanks. She wrinkles her face in disgust, but quickly it softens in realization as she looks at the 100. She hurries into the boutique. Interior, Gestalt Psychotherapy, Jake Stevenson, PhD, day. Back to scene. Surya stands staring out the window in Jake's office. He's still seated, holding his pad, shifts in his seat, trying to hide his excitement. Just then she turns and locks eyes with him.
I wasn't a virgin anymore. And it was this guy whose name I didn't even know. And I just thought it was so hot.
What was it actually for your first time?
I don't know. It's all I know.
How do you feel about that experience now?
I've played that scene over in my head over and over.
She walks over to his desk and picks up a pitcher of water from a tray, which has two glasses, and pours herself a glass of water. She walks back over to the window, passing him and brushing against his shoulder.
And
It's like I had no choice.
you had no choice. How's that control?
I had no choice but to take control. Like a freak who's shot out of a cannon, you have no choice but to go in that direction.
Interesting. Is there anything you think pushed you to say yes to this venture?
Like what?
Something prior to that, which might have given you a reason to feel like you should do it.
I just thought it was time.
Not for what?
Syria glances at her phone.
Time's up, isn't it?
No, we still have a few.
Jake walks to his desk and pours himself a glass of water, bringing it back to his chair.
So this bus stop guy, would you say was the right time?
I mean, hey, you take opportunities when they present themselves.
You felt like you orchestrated the whole thing.
I mean, I did. I knew what would hook him. I made him think it was his idea. I played him.
What about your father?
What about him?
Syria stares him down. She glances at her cell phone.
Are you close?
We were, and then, you know,
How do you feel about that?
like I said, what about him?
Jake takes a long look at Syria. Their eyes lock. He catches himself and begins to scribble on his pad. She lounges back on the couch.
When did you actively start pursuing this secret life of yours?
I suppose after high school during my college days.
When was the moment you lost control?
Interior lobby.
Syria, lobby. Day. Flashback. Syria sits in the lobby. She's on her cell phone. Close on her cell phone. Hookup.com profile. Syria swipes left several times. She swipes right and ding. Interior. Bathroom stall. Day. Syria is with bathroom guy in his 30s. She stares into the mirror and smirks as he finishes with a deep moan.
I found myself just having sex with anyone. Like, I think I love that they wanted me. Like, I could care less about them.
Exterior. Mountainside. Spring day. Dream scene. Syria is perched on a cliff. The wind blows her hair back as the sun shines in her eyes. You can hear the sound of the wind blowing like a tea kettle at full boil. She teeters at the edge, ready to take a leap, clearly scared, shitless. She peeks down. A touch of vertigo overtakes her. She grabs hold of the rocks behind her, but a rock comes loose and she stumbles. However, she quickly regains her footing. She hugs the rocks for dear life.
That's when I started having the dream. After I fly around the city, I'm on a precipice and I'm ready to take a leap to end it all, but I don't have enough courage to do it. So I'm just waiting to leap.
Interior. Gestalt psychotherapy, Jake Stevenson, PhD. Day. Back to scene. Brad scribbles on his pad.
But it all seemed natural in a way.
What about Ken? That was his name, right? You said he started dating in college?
This had nothing to do with him.
Really? What what was going through your head? What were you turned on by all this?
I mean, this bathroom guy really wasn't my type at all. I was there because of like the anonymousness of it all.
She relives the feeling.
You fantasize a lot.
Yeah, but reality is so much better.
She flashes a flirtatious look. He's captured by her for a moment, and she shakes it off.
Did you ever call him?
No, that was part of the game.
Control seems very important to you.
Isn't it for everyone?
Mercs. And episode 102. Episode 103. A bad good girl. Interior, just all psychotherapy, Jake Stevenson, PhD. Day. Sirius stands by the window back to Jake.
In the beginning, did you always feel in control?
Yes.
What did that feel like?
Fucking amazing. Like, I felt no man could resist me. I had them by the cock and I really took no prisoners.
I see.
But do you? If I wanted to, I could have you by the cock too.
Jake jots down notes on his pad. He looks up and meets her stare, holding it slightly too long. She looks down at her watch. Taking her cue, Jake looks at his watch.
That's all for today.
Exterior, 46th Street, winter day. Syria rushes down 47th Street, bundled up, stylish for the New York.
Actually, let me read. I changed that. So I'm going to read what I changed it to. It's exterior, Jake Stevenson's office, winter day. Sorry, spring day. It should be spring day. Jake rambles down East 47th Street, bundled up, stylish for the New York winter, surfing on his smartphone. He stops on a picture, close on a picture of a woman and a child. He stops in front of a building and looks up at a window. That's it. Now you can go interior, lobby, day.
Interior, lobby, day. Flashback, she exits the elevator and enters the lobby. She spots a group of her friends. Sasha, early to mid-20s, beautiful, any ethnicity, myriad, spunky, always, in love with love. Benjamin, mid to late 20s, African-American, gay, not girly. However, the queen is definitely holding court.
Hey, girls.
Don't let me check you.
You're late. Oh, sorry, that's Sasha. My bad.
Yeah, you're late. I'll read Sasha because she's not here. So you're late.
Fashionably.
It's your first day, Miss Official Spokesperson for the Christian Victims Defense Fund.
He finger snaps.
Next, you'll be taking your mother's congressional seat.
I'll read.
Sasha,
I'll read Sasha. I'll read
My bad.
Sasha. Next, you'll be taking your mother's congressional seat.
Hold on there now. A politician, I am not.
That's what they all say until they run. You know that's why you're in law school.
I'm in law school for the same reason you studied psychology.
Right, but you do remember I dropped out of that program, don't you? To become the fashion maven I am today.
Work.
They all laugh.
I never quite fit into their perfect little boxes.
Jake? Mood, are you frozen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, 1 second. I'm asking, you didn't like that, did you?
Would you?
I'm asking you.
Interior, just all psychotherapy, Jake Stevenson, PhD. Day, back to scene. Jake is in the armchair, staring at Syria. She lounges on the couch, not really looking him in the face.
Do you feel powerless in your real life?
No.
She looks him in the eyes.
I can't help you if you're not honest.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I suppose.
When do you think this need first appeared?
I guess maybe a few years after my father died.
How old were you?
12.
How did you feel about that?
Guilty because I felt nothing. but not because I didn't care, but like it wasn't real. It still doesn't feel real.
And you were raised by your mother.
I guess if you want to call it that.
Well, how do you feel about that situation?
Moving on.
He pauses, studying her for a moment.
You ever feel the need to be a good girl?
And why are you so obsessed with women being good or bad?
Interior. Suria's office, day, flashback. Surya sits at her desk, close on the app, hookingup.com. She swipes left and then right on her cell phone. Ding. Then she types a text. Ding. She types again. Then she hops up, grabs her purse, and leaves. Exterior. Interior car, day.
Why does the patriarchy need that?
Control, perhaps?
That ding would have worked a few seconds ago. Surya sits next to the car guy, Wall Street type. She then goes down on him. Camera on, he hits back, fighting to act as if nothing was happening down below, on the lookout for passerby. Interior, Gestalt Psychotherapy, Jake Lee Stevenson, PhD, day. Back to scene. Jake stands and walks over to the window. He looks at the window and then over to Surya, who lounges on the sofa.
It gives you a high of sorts, doesn't it?
No, I'm no different than you.
Going back to the dream, you did jump, right? Didn't you? That's making you a bad girl.
I guess if we have to embrace the patriarchy,
Flirtatiously.
I've since become very good at being very bad.
She flashes a devilish smile. He leans into the window, so to hide his obvious excitement. End of episode 103. Act 4. Menage a Knot. Interior. Gestalt Psychotherapy. Jake Stevenson, PhD. Day. Surya sits on the couch. She nervously checks the time on her phone. Ding. She checks the message. She responds. Jake writes on his pad.
All right, let's continue. When do you think you officially jumped full on, so to speak?
I full on jumped probably 2 years ago.
Interior, staff kitchen, day, flashback. Surya is seated at a table. Jason in his 20s, very handsome, with Don Juan, Hugh Hefner rolled into one. Kristen in her 20s, an artist, cute, quirky. She can set a room on edge just by walking in. Kristen stretches in a book, working on a caricature of Surya. Jason casts an eye in Surya's direction as the rest of the staff gets to the table. Kristen is still seated, sketching. Jason and Surya walk to the other side of the room.
I think she knows we hooked up.
No, she doesn't.
Women are smarter than you think.
She doesn't know. Just relax.
I can't. She's always staring at me.
Oh, look. Kristen's bisexual.
He gives her a look.
Oh,
She actually wants me to ask you out for drinks with us. That's what she thinks we're talking about right now. So, how about it?
I mean, I guess I'm not bi or anything, but
Don't have to do anything you don't want to.
I never do.
She smiles. Interior, Jake's apartment, night. They all flop down on the bed. The girls kiss.
Are you bisexual?
I used to wonder, but I think after this,
Jason pulls out some rolling papers and a bag of marijuana to roll a joint. He rolls the joint while eyeballing the girls as they kiss. He picks up a lighter and lights it. He watches the girls when Siri breaks away. She takes the joint from him and takes the tote.
Jason, honey, I figure there should be about 15 girls in your harem.
Whatever you think is good.
I would be the queen and Soraya. You would be the number 2. You can make suggestions for the new additions. But of course, I get the final word.
But babe, you know what I like.
Yeah, I do. Soraya, I'm quite sure that you have a good idea too. Don't you?
I definitely.
You guys look beautiful together.
She's fucking hot.
Kristen kisses Surya. Surya returns the caresses without much enthusiasm.
Come join the fun, babe.
I thought you'd never ask.
He joins them. Whenever Surya approaches Jason, Kristen cock blocks her. Suddenly, Surya jumps in.
Look, I'm sorry. I think I drink too much. I've got to go.
She grabs her coat and bag and races out the door.
If there were ever any doubts, it became abundantly clear. I am strictly Dickly.
Interior Gestalt Psychotherapy, Jake Lee Stevenson, PhD, day. Back to scene, Surya is seated in the armchair facing the desk. Jake sits back in his chair behind his desk with a cup of coffee.
That was the last time I lost control of a situation. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Miles. Surya lounges back in her chair.
That was different. You didn't find him on an app.
Look, lesson learned. Don't shit where you sleep, so to speak.
How did it feel to not be in control?
How do you think?
Doesn't matter, I think.
Not fucking amazing, okay? Not fucking amazing.
Did you ever tell anyone, Ken?
Hell no. But I did talk to Sasha.
Interior, lobby, day, flashback. Surya sits with Sasha having coffee. They sit at the star table.
Girl, sorry. I keep saying that. Sorry, go ahead.
Girl, all I know is you better be careful.
I know what I'm doing.
And what is that, Surya? The risks you're taking there, girl,
What riz?
strangers, colleagues, Ken finding out, your mom. What's going on with you?
I just need this. I got it under control.
Sounds quite the opposite. I don't agree, but I got you. I'm not gonna lie for you, but I'll run interference whenever I can.
People walk by.
I never suspected you'd be the kinky type.
Not into labels. Anyway, I can handle myself. Don't you worry about me.
From outside the window, Surya reaches for her purse and Sasha reaches into hers.
But you lied, didn't you?
I didn't lie. I just left out some details.
Lied by omission.
Sasha stands up and begins putting on her coat. Surya puts hers on too. Interior Gestalt Psychotherapy, Jake Lee Stevenson, PhD, day. Back to scene. Surya stands by the window gazing out. Jake is still seated in the armchair.
Whatever you want to call it, Sasha really was the only one I could talk to at the time.
But you didn't tell her either. And you cheated on your boyfriend. Ken, you must have liked her.
No. I mean, yes, well, it wasn't really cheating.
Okay. But you lied.
It was just sex. I didn't mean anything. Isn't that what you guys say? I mean, it was just easy for me to tuck away my secret lives from everyone else.
Why?
Whatever.
Interesting. How many of those secret lives do you have?
Everything is interesting to you.
Jake stops writing.
Does that bother you?
Should it?
I don't know. That's up to you.
Anyway, don't we all have a secret life or two?
She smiles a devilish smile. End of episode 104. Act 5. Baby's in a corner. Exterior Lexington Avenue, 57th Street, day. Flashback. Surya, Benjamin and Sasha have bags in hand walking down Lexington Avenue towards Bloomingdale's. Up ahead.
So, how are things going with Ken?
Things are good, but I haven't seen him much lately.
What have you been doing? What have you been busy doing that you couldn't make time for that hot, tall drink of water? Have you been busy holding out with me?
Look, I've got a new job, new responsibilities.
True that.
I can't fault you there, but damn, if you were on my team, I'd keep him coming unless he go elsewhere. You girls really could learn from the gays.
You're so silly.
I'm serious as a heart attack, boo.
Look, trust. Ken is well satisfied.
It's more to satisfaction than sex.
But sex is the hook that keeps them coming back for the rest.
They burst out in laughter.
Why did you lie to Benjamin?
I didn't lie to him.
I rephrase. Why did you omit telling Benjamin certain things?
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure about him.
Period. Gestalt psychotherapy, Jake Lee Stevenson, PhD. Day, back to scene. Syria lounges on the couch as Jake sits in the armchair. She shifts and sits up.
There was always this what if.
What do you mean?
What if I told him?
Told who? Ken?
Earth to Jake, Benjamin. Why are you so obsessed with Ken knowing?
It's just
The patriarchy judging once again.
excuse me. Deep down, how did that make you feel?
I was afraid.
You're asking?
No, I was afraid.
Of
His reaction.
why? You told Sasha. Are they both your old friends? Or were you afraid he would judge you?
No, I think I was afraid he wouldn't judge me.
Interesting. What about your father? Tell me about that relationship.
I don't want to talk about him.
Soraya, I cannot help you if you don't talk.
That's all we do. What do you want me to say? That it's my fault he's gone? What if I didn't take that gun out? Max wouldn't have grabbed it from me and fired accidentally. He'd still be here. It's my fault. There. Is that enough said?
Tears stream down her cheeks.
Whatever you have to say is enough for now.
Who are you to decide that? You sit there judging me.
He puts down his pad and sits next to her on the couch.
I'm not judging.
You don't think I sense the tension in the room?
Tension? There is no.
Stop it. It's palpable. You don't think I see how you squirm with each salacious detail?
Were you really in control of that situation?
You know what? Let's keep this about you.
We are not here to talk about me.
You're not, but I am. An addict can spot another addict. Addicts, I can sense how you hang on my every word, how you want some of this.
My personal problems are not an issue here.
Really? The fact that I can be a trigger for you, isn't that an issue?
I have regular therapy sessions to keep myself in order. So let's get back to you. The incident with your father. Do you feel angry?
Syria struggles to keep the tears at bay.
But are you really in order?
Did you feel hurt?
I bet your dick is hard right now.
Did you feel guilty?
Syria struggles to keep the tears at bay.
Yes, for a very long time.
She begins to cry. He puts his arm around her shoulder to console her. She looks him in the eye. He holds her gaze. Syria kisses him. He tenses, but then gives in. He picks her up and sits her on his desk, and they go at it. Interior, Gestalt psychotherapy, Jake Lee Stevenson, PhD. Day. Jake sits in his chair, and as usual, as Syria stands gazing out of the window.
And so?
Do you still think you have control?
What do you think?
She glances at her watch.
Look at the time.
She smiles a devilish smile. End of episode 105.
Okay. That's it. That's yay, everyone. Thank you. I want to, just so that everybody knows, how you pronounce her name is Surya. So, though I kind of like, Natasha, that maybe if you mispronounce it, because that's also kind of like putting her in her place. You know, so as a choice,
Okay.
want to mispronounce her name, I think that's totally fine, because it'll work with the character and like what she's trying to do. So you go right ahead if you want, mispronouncing her name.
Okay.
And like when we get into rehearsal, there might even be a moment where Surya tries to correct you, and you know, so what? You're the queen. You're the queen. You know.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
Okay.
but everybody else, it's Surya. Kind of like the country, or think Tom Cruise's daughter Suri, and then Surya. So that's how you say her name. But that was a good read through, just like for a cold read through. And what I would like to send everybody home with, like I said, the homework of kind of like really anchoring your characters in your own biography. So it's also helpful to like kind of write that out. And then like when we get back together for rehearsal, you know, I'd like to hear what your backstories are, and then like your relationships, you know, as well. And then also start thinking of the beats of your scene. Like Benjamin, you can play him even though I say he's not flamboyant, there is still like an element of fun. Like,
Oh, you have no worries. No worries here.
yeah, like
Don't
he,
worry.
like, yeah. So think of making him fun, and because in The Secret Lives of Me, he's actually the source of a lot of the comedy, you know, comic relief. He gets all the good lines, you know, when it comes to that. So think of, you know, just that friend that, you know, just fun, like makes us laugh, and he's, like you said, we don't really know, like, wait a minute, who is he really, you know? But Syria does know who he is. You know, they are really, really close. And that's why when she has Scylla, when you're talking about why you didn't talk to Benjamin and tell Benjamin, because in The Secret Lives of Me, she actually does. Eventually, she tells him things that she can't tell Sasha. So she eventually does get there, but at this point, she's kind of, I think she's afraid that like she said, he won't judge her. He wouldn't judge her. And it'd be like a green light. And so she's a little afraid of the green light, kind of, because he won't rein her in. Whereas you see right now, Sasha is kind of reining her in a little bit, or at least kind of trying to rein her in, you know, like, hey, your mother can this person, that person, what's going on with you? You know, Benjamin won't do that. And she kind of senses that he won't. He'll never do that. He'll always be there kind of cheering her on, no matter what it is, you know, and he'll be there to pick her up if it goes awry, you know, and she's a little afraid of that. So that's a note there to keep in mind. Any questions, or, you know, so just look for your beats, you know, because I really want to start seeing those beats develop. The next rehearsal, I will kind of go into, you know, and we'll do separate rehearsals. So with her group of friends, we'll have a rehearsal time with just the three of you, and then Kristen and Jason and Surya, and then Jake and Surya, and then Surya and Bus Stop Guy. So I'll kind of do some work sessions, you know, for like half hour, 45 minutes with each group to work through the beats, like what beats I definitely want to see for sure, how I see the beats. And there's always going to be some latitude as to, you know, how you interpret the beat, you know, if how you're going to do it, you know, but I just.
Are we, and these be, is this gonna be via Zoom or will it be in person?
Probably via Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not 100% certain. We might have one rehearsal in person because I think to get some general blocking, you know, I mean, we can't do blocking because, you know, until we get into the actual locations, but some general kind of.
Yeah, because I asked that specifically for the top of Act 5 for our scene together. Are we going to be walking down the street with our bags and things? Yeah, so that's also going to inform body language and inform inflection in the voice as well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That you're not going to get on a Zoom call.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So we will have one in person, and again, I'll do it with the groups, you know, like different times for the different groups to work through those things, because yes, there are some specific, even, you know, with Bus Stop Guy, you know, a lot, they're standing outside, they're walking, they're, you know, and again, like I said, and I say this again, there's going to be no actual nudity or anything like that. A lot of the sexual scenes are going to be very much implied through positioning and camera angle, you know. So how we're going to do that, like even I tried to have some of that in like in the car. It's like, okay, she's going to go down, but the camera's going up to him and he's going to go like this. And he's looking to see, like, is anybody looking? His arms are like that. We don't see her anymore, but we know what she's doing, you know? So it'll be a lot of that. And that's stuff that we have to definitely physically figure out, you know, like, how is this going to work? What are we going to see? How are we going to work with that? And as soon as I get the DP, that's when we'll have that, because then I'd probably ask the DP to kind of come in and help me with, you know, like we'll talk about how the camera is going to be positioned, where it's going to be, etc. Okay. So I'm going to try to, time is passing so quickly. It's like, oh my God, it's like in a month. So hopefully I'll have the DP by the beginning of this week. I have narrowed it down to 3 people. And I gave them the script. And so I just have to have another conversation now that they have the script, to then we can have another conversation in terms of what their thoughts and ideas are. And then I'll make my choice from there. But the 3 that I have narrowed it down to, they have really, really great reels. So, so it's going to be exciting. So now I'm not going to keep you any longer. You guys go and do what you do. I would say also, by the time we have the in-person rehearsal, that by that time we should definitely have our SAG paperwork. As soon as I get all of that, you know, please just get it back to me as soon as possible so I could submit it to them. They are waiting. I'm still waiting for my COVID compliance officer getting the certificate from, she took her course and we've got to make our COVID plan. That's what SAG is waiting for. So hopefully that will be in on Monday. They'll send us all the paperwork once we're, you know, completely cleared for COVID compliance. And then we'll take it from there. So I'm looking probably, what is today is the 12th. Next Saturday or Sunday, which works for best, Saturday or Sunday, as far as for the next Zoom rehearsal. And it may be around the same time, and then I'll just schedule slots for the groups. So unfortunately, Scylla, you just know that you're going to be there the whole time.
Oh, gotcha. Sunday works better for me. I will be directing at South by Southwest, so Sunday would be more ideal for me.
Okay, cool. Anybody else? Saturday, Sunday?
I
That's
don't
perfect.
believe I'm available on Sunday.
As of,
Unfortunately, Saturday I'm free.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I'm late to the chat, but Sunday would probably be better because the Saturdays conflict with
Right. With the
another engagement. Yeah.
right.
And I'm free during the weeks in the evenings, anytime, pretty much. So
Same. Yeah.
Me as well.
Okay, so we could do, because we could do during the week. as
During the
well.
week is perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so and evenings, you're saying?
Yep.
or I can be you just let me know and I'll see.
Okay. So what's the, I would say for me, like Wednesday is probably best.
Works for me.
Okay, so Wednesday, how about like 5 to like 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish? But everybody isn't going, I'm going to give you slots. I just have to work it out. It's just, it's the different groups, like the friend group, the sexy friend group, I guess I can call it that. And then, bus stop guy and Scylla, and then Jake and Scylla. So Jake and Surya. So everybody wouldn't have to be there the whole time, just the time that I will schedule. So let's say between 5 and 8, and we'll see. And I'm probably going to work with each group like 40 to 45 minutes.
Mhm.
Basically.
Yeah, I'd prefer during the week as well.
Okay. So
And I
let's,
just don't know yet about, I can pencil that in for the 16th.
okay.
I'm just waiting for confirmation on I'm not sure what time I'm wrapping. Right now, I think I'm done at 4, so it should work. But I'll just be in touch with you and just keep you posted.
Okay,
if
and I
anything
could always
changes.
push your group a little bit later in the,
Mhm.
so then
Yeah.
that way, just to cover, to give you
Yeah.
a little bit more time. So I can do that. So we're gonna shoot to try to, I will sit down and work it out between today and tomorrow to give you the specific times Wednesday, but like between 5-ish and 8 sometime. Okay. All right, everybody, thank you so much. And you will hear from me tomorrow, and I'll see you guys again on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Good
job.
work, everybody.